Hello everybody, welcome to the United Stand. I'm Mark Goldbridge and this is your evening United Stand show where we talk about the latest Manchester United news. Tonight we'll be talking, well, look, sources saying that Ruben Amorim's ready to spill the beans. When will he do it? What will he say? We'll talk about that. Also, apparently Man United were weighing up a big midfield signing in the January transfer window right up until transfer deadline day. Do we believe that? And if they were doing that, is that more evidence of the mistake that they've made? Also, we've got a bit about Casemiro, a bit about Harry Maguire, and what I think is a very good 8 o'clock topic is that United are sort of putting it out there that they might go for 2 midfielders in the summer. Ooh, we might go for 2, not 1, 2. I think we need 3. We'll talk about that. And it is the 8 p.m. show. Well, it's a 7 p.m. show, actually. We're an hour early because of the Arsenal-Chelsea game, which I'm doing on That's Football. But you drive the evening show. Sometimes these shows are brilliant. So if you've got any things that you want to get involved in, cause a debate, get your comments in and we'll delve into that as well. Lots to get into tonight. But before we get into it, we are sponsored tonight by Boyle Sports Data Decoder. What's that all about? Well, we're sponsored by Boyle Sports and we've got an interactive segment here for you called the Boyle Sports Data Decoder. So the United Stand team have been checking out the Boyle Sports Match Hub, which you can do, and we thought we'd turn it into something a bit more fun for the chat. Basically, we've come up with a little challenge for the community using nothing but stats. You've got to guess the player, but only from the stats I'm about to give you. Seems easy, but let's find out. So let's test your football knowledge here. I made my senior competitive in early 2023 during an EFL Cup match against Charlton Athletic after graduating from the academy. I'm praised for my incredible calmness and composure on the ball, even when under heavy pressure. I have maintained a passing accuracy of 88.2% in the league this season, showing my comfort in the midfield. I've had 5 shots in the league this season, with one of them being on target. In 16 appearances this season, I have no goals and 2 assists. I currently pull the strings in the United midfield whilst wearing the number 37 shirt. So, no Googling. If you don't know that, get out. I mean, if you don't know that, get out simply. I currently pull the strings in the United midfield while wearing the number 37 shirt, and I'm from the academy. Come on, it ain't Casemiro, is it? It is, of course, Kobe Mainu. Well done if you got that one. So if you're new to Boyle Sports, there is also a bet £10, get £40 in free bets welcome offer available. So thanks again to Boyle Sports for sponsoring the channel. As always, 18 plus UK and Ireland only. Terms and conditions apply and are in the description on screen. Please bet responsibly. All the details in the video description, of course. Right, let's delve into the show. We're going to be talking about, well, look, let me start it off for you. This is according to Chris Wheeler in the Daily Mail. According to well-placed sources in Portugal, Ruben Amorim is set to wait until the end of the season before breaking his silence on how it rapidly soured at Manchester United. Amorim has no desire to disrupt or affect the remainder of United's season as Michael Carrick looks to steer them back into the Champions League. Manchester United were also weighing up a big money move for a midfielder until late January. The financial benefits of qualifying for the Champions League are such that United had to consider it. And also, United are looking to add 2 midfielders this summer. Is that going to be enough? And a little bit about Casemiro and Maguire as well. So a few headlines there for us to start talking about. I mean, look, I'm going to start off with the transfer thing before Amorim, because I think the Amorim thing is a little bit more topical, a little bit more of a conversation where this is obviously topical. So, look, Manchester United were weighing up a big money move for a midfielder until late in January. The financial benefits of qualifying for the Champions League made them think that it might be worth doing it, and it could give them a push into the top 4 under Michael Carrick. Anderson, Wharton, and you've guessed it, Baleba are high on United's lists. And with the clubs set to let Casemiro go in the summer and maybe Agate, the need for midfield is big. United insisted there would be no panic buys in January, but have always maintained that they would consider bringing forward a deal planned for the summer, as was the hope with Semenyo, who instead chose Man City. Having inquired about Baleba and Gallagher at Atletico Madrid in the summer, United kept their options open in the January transfer market as well before deciding to stick rather than twist. Well, look, I think that only time will tell if Manchester United regret that. But, I mean, I sort of do look, is it true? Is it not true? If it's spin, it's not very good spin, is it? I mean, you basically are saying that you did consider spending a lot of money on a midfielder in January and you decided not to. The opportunity that you're waiting for, pray tell me, what did you think was going to happen? Did you think Forest were going to ring you up and say, do you want Elliot Anderson? Or Palace ring you up and say, do you want Adam Wharton? Or Stuttgart ring you up and say, do you want Angelo Stiller? You have to actually move for those players if you want them early. So I listen to it and I go, so they had the money and they were of a mind to bring a deal forward, but ultimately decided not to. If this story is true, did we pick up the phone to anybody? No. So ultimately we decided not to do anything then, didn't we? It's not like we tried and failed. We didn't bother. My interpretation of it is, and many of you may agree with me, many of you may disagree with me, but my interpretation is they had the money, they had the need, in the sense that we needed one, and they had the money, and they decided not to do it. Why did they decide not to do it? Well, they gambled. They gambled that they'd be okay without doing it. And I also think that I don't think they're waiting for the summer to get the targets they want. I think they know they could have moved on their targets now. I personally think this is a financial thing. I heard Andy Mitten talking about it earlier, that Man United do have financial issues, and if they don't get Europe, they'll be even worse. I think they bottled it. I think they looked at it and went, if we go for a midfielder now and we don't get Europe, we're in the shit, having spent big money. Whereas if we get Europe and we go for the midfielder in the summer, we have the money. I think they did the opposite of what many of us would do. I would look at it and go, I'm spending to make sure I get Champions League football. I think they've gone, we won't spend in case we don't get Champions. It's like flipping the argument, isn't it? And look, some of you might agree with it. I will knock it, but I can see it. I think they flipped the argument. I think many of us are like, spend the money on the midfielder we need to make sure we get Champions League football. I think they've gone, let's not spend the money in case we don't get Champions League football and it causes problems. Because look, if you did spend £60 million on a midfielder and you don't get Europe, you probably are in the shit, to be fair. But that's a business decision. This is football. Not many big football clubs will go, let's not spend the money on when we've got it in case we spend the money and it goes wrong. It's risk averse. So as DJ United says, they folded on a 2-pair. Yeah, it's like playing, what's it called, isn't it? What do they call it? I used to call it pontoon. You know where you have to get 21 and your dealer gives you a king and then you get another king. And instead of sticking, because that's 20, you twist and you go bust. It's silly. It really is. And I think that, look, what does it add to the conversation? We are where we are. We're going with what we've got. I think they're risk averse. I think they're naive. I think they're incompetent. And I think they're gambling. And I don't like any of those words. Blackjack, that's what it's called. Blackjack, yeah. I was playing this at Christmas, actually. So look, it doesn't make me feel any better that we were thinking about spending big money in January and we didn't. I mean, in fact, it probably makes me feel a little bit worse, because one of the things I've always said is, I'm not just thinking about, I mean, look, again, I'll tell you this. I'm not just thinking about the summer, you know. PRV, performance results vision. Vision is not one summer. Vision is now, January, well, it's closed. Next January, the January after that, next summer, the summer after that. That's the vision. I'm planning out, I'm mapping out my windows. All the big clubs do it. So if you're telling me we had the money to go for a midfielder in January and we didn't do it, I'm thinking, oh my God, you could have got a decent midfielder now. And then when we've got Champions League football, you can get the second and third midfielder and maybe the winger. You haven't got one in the bank, have you? It's the efficiency as well. It's like, if you'd got one of the midfielders in January, that's work you don't have to do in the summer. It's one in the bank. So those 31 days of the January transfer window, you've just wasted them doing nothing. It's like being a kid, isn't it? And you know, your parents say you've got to do your homework, tidy your room, get everything ready for school tomorrow on the Sunday afternoon. And you go, I'm watching Bullseye and having a bath. And then you wake up early the next day, you've got to tidy your room, get your own work done, you haven't got your clothes ready, you're in a mad rush, you don't have breakfast. When really, if you'd done a couple of things yesterday afternoon, you'd have been a lot better off. And that's what United have done with this transfer window. They've ignored the January transfer window when everybody knows we've got too much work to do in the summer now. I know that we won't get everything we need. We won't get a left back, 3 midfielders, a winger in the summer. And we need more than that, but we won't get those 5. We won't get a left back, a winger, and 3 midfielders now. We won't have time to do it. Probably won't have the funds to do it. It's like last summer. Good summer. Sesko, Mbermo, Cunha, Le Mans. Good summer. Le Mans came in on transfer deadline day and we didn't get a midfielder. So by not doing anything in January, we're messing up the summer. And knowing that we had the money to do it and we decided against it just shows you the level of clowns we have running the football club. So disappointing. Hi, Mark. I have a weird insight. How come is it that we are the only club that does not buy young Brazilian wonder kids, says Aiden. Well, who does, really? Who does buy young? I mean, Chelsea do it. We've neglected the South American market for a very, very long time. It was something that Ten Hag looked into because of obviously his experience at Ajax, but we've actually cut back on our scouts around the world. A lot of what we do now is on a computer. Not spending in case we don't get Europe might have made sense in January, but not when we're kind of the favourites for top 4 or top 5, says Shahin. I think we need 4 quality signings, 2 centre midfielders, a left back and a centre back, and 2 backups, centre striker and centre midfielder. But Ornstein already said summer wouldn't be crazy, as people were saying. It's spin, says Naveen. Well, I don't disagree with any of the things you've said there. Do you think that the board looked at Amorim putting the best number 10 as a midfielder and played a part? That's like eating soup with a fork, says M. Parker. I mean, did Liverpool not spend in January because they're moving Slot on in the summer and they want to keep funds back for the next manager? Did Man United not spend in January because they want to keep funds back for the next manager? It's a fair thing, but they've not leaked it. I mean, they're probably going to leak that tomorrow now, aren't they? We've just given them another excuse. I don't believe that, because I think that was an open goal excuse that they could have put out 2 weeks ago and they haven't done it. They probably will do it now, but I don't believe it now because they haven't put it out. Emily Derry says, total bullshit, club spin. Everyone knows that Anderson, Belaber and Wharton are summer targets, as are most of the other names we're linked to. We could have won the title this year if our board wasn't so incompetent. You will remember me saying this at the end of the season, says Andre Gomez. And Matthew Richardson with a $10 super chat says, next year, hopefully Europe. We have 5 midfielders, Casemiro gone, injury-prone Mount, Ugarte out of favour, Bruno may leave. Our rivals all have 6 or 7 that play. We need way more than 2, says Matthew Richardson. And we're going to need to buy a minimum of 4 midfielders if we're going to be in Europe. Don't you agree? Well, yeah, I mean, look, I want to talk about the Amorim thing, but to be honest with you, these topics are probably more appealing to me, so hopefully they're more appealing to you. I saw that, I think it was actually Andy Mitten again. He said, if Man United will still move for 2 midfielders in the summer, and he said it depends who leaves. This is about 2 midfielders, by the way. He said it depends who leaves. We know Casemiro is going. I'm told the priority is a number 6. Absolutely, but if, for example, Bruno left and there's no evidence that he will, that would alter things. It's all in play. If United are playing Champions League, they need a bigger squad and more money has to go into the squad. Europa League, you'd need a bigger squad as well. You'd look at Ugarte, whose Man United future isn't looking the best right now. I mean, I think that's a very timid and diluted opinion from Andy Mitten, because he was basically asked, do Man United need 2 midfielders? And he said, well, yeah, because Casemiro's going. Maybe if Bruno goes, maybe if Ugarte goes. I think we need 3. I think we need 3, and look, I'm open to have the debate, but I think we need 3. I've said it a few times. I look at that midfield. Right. The best way to do it quickly is I look at the midfield now. Ugarte, Casemiro, Mainu, Bruno. That's 4. I don't count Mason Mount. He's too unreliable. I just don't. If I'm going to war, I need somebody that can bloody stand up. You know, Mason Mount is unreliable. If I'm going to go into a 38-game Premier League season, I'm not counting Mason Mount. And if I'm a manager worth his salt, if I sit there with Wilcox in the summer and he says, "Don't forget you've got Mount," I'm going to say, "You're having a laugh." And he'll go, "What do you mean?" I says, "We're not counting Mason Mount." Well, he's part of the squad. Did you buy him? No. Did I buy him? No. How many times has he been injured in the last 2 years? More than 10 times? Yeah. No. We're not counting Mason Mount. You know what Mason Mount is? He's an umbrella. If it's raining and we can find him, let's use him. But we don't need him. We don't. I'd rather get wet. We don't need Mason Mount. Like, we don't need to. What I mean is we don't need to include Mason Mount in any plans. His injury record is atrocious. It's not going to get any better. You know what I say about Mason Mount? It's like going into the freezer and finding a bonus ice lolly on a hot day. Didn't know I had it. That's nice. You know, it's not like... It's a bonus. If he's fit, put him on the bench, I might use him. But I'm not building around him. I'm not factoring him in. So I really have got, at the moment, Bruno, Mainu, Agate and Casemiro for 3 positions. I've got 4 players for 3 positions, right? That's now. So right now I need 2. I need 2 midfielders today. I've got 4 players for 3 positions. You should always have at least 2 players for each position. So I need 2 today. Even with Casemiro and Agate here, I need 2. If one of those go, I need 3. If Bruno goes, you could argue I need 4. If Agate goes, you could argue I need 5. So I don't know what all this 2 bollocks is about. In a way, it does irritate me. I hear people going, Man United might go for 2 midfielders in the summer. Ooh, 2? Oh, you're spoiling us. No, I think we need 2 today. And Casemiro's definitely going. So that's 3. And that's the way I look at it. I think it's just very easy to say that in the 2 defensive positions, the 6 and the 8, we've only got Mainu next season. I need 3 then. I need cover for Mainu and I need 2-6. 3 is what I need. But United are trying to get us all to knock one out because they might buy 2. Ooh, we might buy 2. It's like bloody going on holiday and them saying, we might get the return flight. Oh, great. I mean, 2 is nailed on. 3 is what we need. Yeah? Have to use the youth. The board is skint, says Lewis. Look, if they've got a young midfielder, and we know a couple, that is going to be part of the team next season, we're all going to be very excited. But even if we've got the next Nicky Butt or Paul Scholes in the youth, they're not ready. Nobody's ready. That's not how it works. You don't go from a youth player to playing every week. You go from a youth player to being, let's give them half an hour, let's give them 45 minutes, let's give them a Carabao Cup game, let's take them out of the team a bit, let's bring them back in, nurture. You can't use a young player as, oh, it doesn't matter, we've got such and such. That's not how you even develop a player. Even if you've got the next Roy Keane, that's not how you develop a player. So 3 midfielders is what I think we need. Have to use the youth. That was Lewis. Every time you don't have a career mode, we don't get signings. You know the scouts follow you. Dorgu accepts. I'm not taking the blame for that, Parker. Gareth Owen says, with PSR year running out until the end of June and reduced revenue, board will have excuse to delay signings until July. Might miss out on top targets, says Gareth. Look, all I know about Wharton and Anderson is that there will be a lot of competition for those. The Labour, not at the moment. So I think what we'll probably do, and I hate United being so predictable, Mbeumo will be Labour in the sense that we'll take ages to sign him, but we can do it before July if we want to. And then the next midfielder will be Sesko, where it will be expensive, but probably 3rd or 4th choice. I think that's what will happen. We might only buy 2 midfielders. That might be it. We might not do anything else. I don't know. Sub Agate at all in the game worries me, says JB. I mean, I don't think Agate is as bad as people think. I think it's a bit coincidental that every time he comes on, we seem to concede 2 goals. It could be to do with the way we play when he comes on, but he's certainly not the answer. I was quite excited about Agate. Ten Hag wasn't. Ineos, it's an Ineos signing. It's a Wilcox signing, Agate. And I thought it would be a good signing, but sometimes you've got to put your hands in the air and say, that's a bad signing. I thought Juan Sebastian Veron was going to be a good signing. It just didn't work. I thought Kagawa would be a good signing. It didn't work. There's no point dwelling on whether we were right or wrong about the signing. The reality is he is going to need replacing. We might not get the players we want or need in the summer, so should have got someone when we could have. Wilcox is too incompetent, says Mike. Well, I mean, again, I think you're sort of saying this, Mike, and forgive me if I'm wrong. I think what you're saying is that waiting till the summer to go for players that we know other clubs are going to go for, why not have a punt in January? It's exactly what Chelsea did with Enzo Fernandez. They knew Real Madrid and other clubs wanted Enzo Fernandez in the summer, but they couldn't go for him in January. So they pitched, and they got him. And you've either got the money or you haven't. I don't think it makes any difference to do it now than it would in the summer. What's the difference between giving Brighton £80 million for Baleba in June or giving it them in January? Like, what's the difference? I mean, I think we could have got... We just don't behave like that sort of a football club, and I think you have to. Look, I remember when we signed Roy Keane. On the Friday, everyone thought he was signing for Blackburn. Kenny Dalglish went on a golfing trip, came back, and Roy Keane had signed for Man United because Sir Alex Ferguson had popped in and said, we're going to break the British transfer record, come to Man United. So you've got to be like that. But I don't think United want to be like that. I think United want people to go, I want you. And we've got to play for them, sometimes. But would you not agree buying a centre midfielder would be impulsive without a proper manager in place and not knowing who he would want for his system, says Evan? Well, no, I totally disagree. I mean, I think that you've probably missed something there when you've typed it, in fairness, because you're acting like the manager's going to be Sir Alex Ferguson and have a veto. Ruben Amorim got sacked because they didn't want to listen to him and wanted to control him. That's the way we work now. Omar Barada, Jason Wilcox, Faval, they're in charge of transfers. The manager has a say, but they get overruled. So why would we wait for the manager who could not be coming in? Look, we're not... To answer the question, Evan, we're going to sign players regardless of who the manager is. Some of these players are going to come in before the manager. Like Baleba's already been decided. The next manager, we don't even know who it is, but Baleba's going to get signed. So that sticks a lot of holes in your theory that we're waiting for the manager. We're not waiting for the manager. We won't listen to the manager. We'll go and get what we think. They're playing Russian roulette, says Laura. Hope you're doing well, Laura. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. And hi again, Mark, says Aidan. In my opinion, buying a more experienced striker to help Sesko will be our most important signing. A very interesting video. I think I'm going to drop it at 7 o'clock tomorrow. It's a sort of an adaptation on the video I did last week where I was sat having a cup of tea. I've changed the name and I've got the theory of the content I want to do. It's coming out probably at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. But I do. It sort of is a little bit around that. But I do agree with you that I just don't think Xerxes is the right backup to Sesko. I like Xerxes, but I want a striker. I want a proper striker. And I think somebody that could work with Sesko would be a good... I mean, Teddy Sheringham said the other day, bring Rasmus Højlund back. I mean, I don't think we should be bringing anybody back. I just don't think it's a good idea to bring anybody back because you're judged by the past. It's all about margins with this board, says Goldbridge. Semenyo represented a great deal because of the clause, but getting a priority midfielder now would mean paying over the odds. And Nosk says, you're a decent person, Mark. Whether things are good or bad, you say things straight from the heart with honesty. You don't sugarcoat the truth like many other football-related video content creators do. That's why I tune in, says Nosk. Well, look, I'm not here to... I mean, I love the community. I love the conversation. But in the 10 years I've been doing this, I'm not here to play for likes. From the very start, I've said, if you disagree with me, it's probably a good thing because it generates your ability to think. And I think in 2026, a lot of people don't think. A lot of people see a short, they see a short, they see a short, they see a clip, and they just go, oh, I agree with that, I agree with that, I agree with that. I think the ability to think only comes from the ability to debate, and the ability to debate comes on the ability to disagree. So I think there's too many people out there that are being played. There's too many people out there trying to play you. Toxic positivity, toxic negativity, whatever you want to call it. I think there's a lot of things wrong at Man United. There are some things right as well. Let's be real. We ain't getting the return flight. We're stuck in Zimbabwe. We better learn African culture and language, says Mazraoui. We're going to implode next season if we get the Champions League, considering how small our squad is. Get ready for injuries and finishing 8th, says Andre. Well, look, I don't think we should be talking about next season because we've got such an exciting run of games coming up with the team that we've got. But you're right. I was saying this on That's Football, and I'll leave it here, and then we'll move on to something else. I was saying this on That's Football. You look at Newcastle, and when they're not in the Champions League, they're a bloody good team. They are. One game a week. They've got a squad. They can overpower people. They're exciting. They make St. James's Park, a fortress. And they finish in the top 5 quite comfortably. Although I think they finished 6th last year. But you get my point. They qualify. When they get into the Champions League, they just can't deal with it. They're still a good team, and they still have occasionally good games, but they just can't deal with midweek, weekend. By the time you hit January, they're just knackered. They just can't do it. And the reason they do that is because of their squad limitations. So just because we're Manchester United, that doesn't work. Like, we were Manchester United when we finished 15th. We were Manchester United when we lost the Europa League final to Spurs. We've been Manchester United not qualifying for the Champions League for 50% of the time in the last decade. So being Manchester United doesn't do it. You need a squad. I can already tell you we won't have a squad good enough next season. There's going to be a lot of work on the first 11. We just won't have the squad to compete in the Champions League and in the Premier League top 4 next season. We won't have it. We won't have it at all. We're going to really struggle. Depth does matter. Next season, whoever the manager is, whoever's here, whoever we sign, whoever goes, next season's going to be bloody tough. We should enjoy it and we should get excited about it, but it will be hard. It'll be harder than this season, and we don't even know what this season's going to be yet. But next season will be very hard. The summer transfer window is, well, we fucked it. In my opinion, I think we've already fucked it because we needed to do things in January to alleviate the pressure and give ourselves more time in the summer. If you need 6 to 8 players bringing in and you do nothing in January, you still need 6 to 8 players in a summer where the World Cup is going to swallow 60% of that summer. I think most of you are intelligent enough to realise this. I don't think Wilcox is. If you think about a summer transfer window, basically it's 3 months, June, July and August. 3 months of being able to talk to players and agents. 60% of that's gone on the World Cup. From the end of May to the start of July, most footballers are playing in the World Cup and they're in a bubble. To the middle of July, a lot of clubs, a lot of countries are still playing in the World Cup and people who aren't are going on holiday. I mean, you could even say 70% of the window is going to be gone on the World Cup and everyone's going to be fishing in the same small pond. So it'd be very hard to do loads of business in January, in my opinion. Daniel Thompson says, I hope you're well, Mark. The ownership exposed themselves by going for Semenyo, thus showing we had funds available. Their incompetence knows no bounds. Appalling ownership. I agree. We need 3 new midfielders. Well, I can't remember who it was. It might have been Ben Jacobs. It might have been somebody else. But somebody said to me right at the start of January, they said, you can tell United really thought they were going to get Semenyo because by not getting him, they've exposed themselves. That was done at the end of December, wasn't it? So the whole United fan base knew they had 60 million. And they've got to navigate the whole of January knowing the fan base know you've got 60 million pounds. United aren't stupid. They wouldn't want to do that. They'd love to say we haven't got any money, but they couldn't do that. So they obviously thought they were going to get Semenyo to play their cards so publicly. And I suppose that does make sense. Thank you very much for that. Also, remember we can talk to only one player at a time as well, says A to win. Yes. And we need 6 players at least for depth, says Mike JW. Just my opinion. And 3 of those need to be midfielders. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't disagree. Right wing and 10 are the only positions we don't need a player, says Hader. Yeah, even goalkeeper, where I don't want a first-team goalkeeper, but you still need a decent backup. I mean, if anything happens to Le Mans or he has a crisis of confidence because he's a young player, you're back with Binder in goal, aren't you? Hi, Mark. I've got a mate that supports Liverpool and he thinks Szoboszlai is better than Bruno. I'm not dismissing he isn't a good player, but what about you, says Ron. Look, I think now we've got Bruno Fernandes back playing in the number 10. I think it's very hard to find a player that is better than Bruno Fernandes in the Premier League. I think when he's playing in the midfield, he's a player that you go, he should be playing as a number 10. When he's playing as a number 10, I mean, what is it, 2 assists at the weekend? The most assists in the Premier League this season. Incredible. Like, I mean, Szoboszlai has been brilliant for Liverpool, but the back catalogue of, look, it's like a band coming out with a good debut album and saying we're better than Oasis. Oasis have got a back catalogue of songs and albums and are still decent, in my opinion. So, you know, come back when you've done it a bit longer, you know. Aren't you forgetting Obi, who can come in, says 3. I think the club are forgetting that. Did you know that back in the 95-96 season, Man United was 12 points behind Newcastle before winning the league? This is the same distance we have now with Arsenal. Just a thought, says Joey. Yeah, but it wasn't in February, mate. I'm pretty sure it wasn't in February. And also, that was a Manchester United side that had won titles and had Cantona in it, and Schmeichel and Roy Keane. No, there is no history to be repeated there. We'd need what people don't realise about a 12-point gap with 14 games to go is that we'd need to win 14 games, and we need Arsenal to lose 4 and draw 1. It's just not going to happen, is it? To win the league, we'd need to win 14 games, and Arsenal would need to lose 4 and draw 1. It's not going to happen. There were some articles about Harry Kane. Well, I'd love Harry Kane, but we won't be able to do that. Hi, Mark. In my opinion, done that one as well. And Emily Derry says, not the first time Wilcox has tried to sell a pipe dream. Last season, he pitched a cheap striker, Delap, with 2 10s and a midfielder. We got Sesko and no midfielder, though I prefer Sesko to Delap, says Emily. I mean, I got sent something by somebody last week who said, hear me out, if we'd got Delap, we would have won the league. And I thought, do you realise how crap Delap is? Like, I mean, no. Tonight's show is a welcome distraction. Anxious about a hospital visit tomorrow. Having to get a small operation. I have a huge phobia of hospitals, says Ross. Good luck tomorrow, mate. I'm sure you'll be absolutely fine. And all the best. I want Xerxes, Rashford, Ugarte gone for cash, says Keel. Casemiro, Sancho, wages redistributed. Rasmus back or sold for cash. Loads of money, says Kyle. Thank you very much. And Mario Franco says, we need a striker, 3 midfielders, left winger and a left back. Any less and we fail. And Philip says, we should sign Anderson, Baleba, Goretzka and Camavinga and sell Ugarte, buy DeMarco, promote Diego Lon. With coach, we are 2 or first next season, says Philip. Who would you sign to help Sesko develop, says Aidan. It's tough. It is tough. You need somebody. It's tough. The striker market's not the market it used to be. There's not a lot of experienced strikers out there. But ideally, I think we do need somebody else. I don't think we can finish first or second next season, mate. With those changes, by the way, and the reason I say that is that we've got to play about 18 games more next season. And you think we can do a title race, I think it'd be very, 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 very difficult. Sorry, I haven't mentioned Amorim, but just before I do, a couple of other stories from the Chris Wheeler, basically saying that Manchester United's Casemiro has had interest from LA Galaxy as a potential move for him. I mean, look, we know he's going to go and we know he's going to make decent money. Look, he's doing the Willie Ann at the moment, and I'm quite happy with that. Also, with regards to Harry Maguire, I think this is coming in from iPaper. Sir Jim Radcliffe is targeting a reduced wage bill by moving on high-earning veterans, with Casemiro and others expected to depart. Harry Maguire could be an exception, with the defender open to an $80,000 a week pay cut, as some executives believe his leadership could still prove vital. No decision has been made yet. So that would be Harry Maguire essentially on £100,000 a week to stay on at Manchester United. I'm conflicted on that, really. I understand the whole leadership and experience thing, but leadership and experience in what? I'm conflicted on it. I think about 2 months ago I said keep him, and now I'm sort of like, you know what it was? I'm not being a hypocrite. You know what it is? It's the system. When we were playing a 3-4-3, I think keeping Maguire for another season makes sense because he's good in a 3, and you need 3 centre-backs. But when you're going to play a back 4, I personally think in a back 4, Maguire will get exposed a few times because he's just not quick. And playing a high line with Maguire in it is dangerous. In a 3, I think he's proven for England and for us that he's good in a back 3, but we're not playing a back 3 anymore. And in addition to that, with 3 centre-backs, you need more centre-backs. With 2, what's the point in paying 100 grand a week to Harry Maguire when you've got De Ligt, Martinez, Yoro, Heaven? I just don't really see the point anymore in keeping him, because you need to start giving those younger players airtime. And I'm not sure that he suits a back 4 at 33 next season. And he gets in. I just think for him and us, it might be time to move on. But look, it's not. If Amorim was still here and we were playing a back 3, I'd keep Maguire. I think it makes sense because he can play in a back 3 and you need more centre-backs. But if we're going to play a back 2 and we want to play a high line, I think it would hinder the development of people like Yoro and Maguire, which and Heaven, which we need to develop. So, you know. The Amorim thing was this. According to a well-placed source in Portugal, Ruben Amorim is set to wait until the season is wrapped before breaking his silence on how it rapidly soured at Manchester United. Amorim has no desire to disrupt or affect the remainder of United's season as Michael Carrick looks to steer them back into the Champions League. Look, I mean, some people have been talking about this online. I'm very interested to hear the side of Ruben Amorim, but I would not be interested in hearing it before the summer. I absolutely agree that Michael Carrick needs no distractions and the team needs no distractions. And whilst I'm all ears on his side of the story, because I think it'd be quite interesting to be enlightened by the idiocy of this board, I think it's an intelligent and right thing to do is to wait until the end of the season, because it comes across as sour grapes as well, doesn't it? So I think with regards to that, yeah, I'd be interested to know his side of the story. But for now, we need to focus on short-term goals and we need to get into Europe. And as I said, I thought we were going to get in Europe with Amorim anyway. So let's go and get Europe. Let's reassess in the summer. Things are going well at the moment. To win the league next season, we need 10 players in and career best performances. We're not doing that if we're positive fans, says Ray Carl. I think the only way United are going to win the league next season is if we had a really good summer transfer window and everyone had a really shit season like the season Leicester won it. I mean, I think Liverpool... The trouble with next season is there's a couple of teams that are going to need to bounce back. Liverpool have had a shit season. So next season will be their bounce back. Man City haven't had a great season, so next year might be their bounce back. Chelsea have had a disruptive season, so next year might be their bounce back. I don't think Arsenal are going anywhere. And Newcastle will probably bounce back next year as well. So I think next year is going to be tough. Very, very tough, which is why Champions League football is so important, so we can compete with the teams that are going to be bouncing back in the summer. To win the league, I hope Amorim exposes the worst parts of the ownership, says Haider, just enough to drive this fan base to the edge. Also, why does every Amorim outer get treated like they support this ownership? People like wanted them all out, says Haider. And how much do we need to spend in the summer? 300 million? I don't think Sir Jim has that type of ambition, says Alex. Look, I was talking to Terry on his show this morning. It's not about buying 7 or 8 £70 million players. We might be able to bring a player in for 15 million. I mean, look at the price of Mazraoui. Like, for me, it's about bringing in quantity and quality, but it doesn't have to be £50 million for every player. Do you think they will get rid of Rashford and Agate, says Mustafa? I mean, I've got no idea. I mean, Rashford's going to be playing in the World Cup, and he's probably going to be like... I mean, look, remember, Bruno's not making his mind up until the end of July, and neither's Marcus Rashford. So you can imagine the start of the season, can't you, if things go wrong or right. Anyway, I am on That's Football in 14 minutes, so I need to close the show. But what a show. I've really enjoyed it. Nice to get back into the rhythm of evening shows. Now the transfer window has been shut, we can talk about different things. Thank you so much for tuning in. You can tune in on That's Football. I'm going to be there in about 5 minutes' time. Don't forget to check out Boyle Sports. Absolutely fantastic little app as well that you can use to get all the data and stats there. And I have got a video going up at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. I think it's 7 o'clock. I'll be live with you at 10, but check out the video at 7. Make sure you're subscribed and get your notifications on for that. And as I say, thank you everyone for tuning in. Really enjoyed the show. And I'll speak to you on the next one. Take care.